How did Valdosta teen Kendrick Johnson die? The fight for answers continues while the Justice Department is now reopening the case.
And we were able to get through the night without major rain, but a few showers near the Emerald Coast could be a sign of what's to come on Friday.
And in less than an hour, millions of Floridians who receive food stamp benefits will have to make ends meet with less. Just how much the move will save the government? The news at 11 starts right now.
Live from the WTXL studios, this is ABC 27's News at 11.
Tonight, the family of Valdosta teen Kendrick Johnson breathing a sigh of relief as a U.S. Attorney's Office launches a new investigation into their son's death. I'm Mika Highsmith. Thank you for watching WTXL ABC 27 News at 11. Now, to give you some background here, 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson's body was found inside a rolled-up wrestling mat at the Lowndes High School gym back in January. The Lowndes County Sheriff's Office and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation initially ruled his death an accidental asphyxiation. The Johnson family expressed their own doubts about the account and hired a private pathologist to conduct a second autopsy. Yesterday, after closed-door hearings, a court order was granted to release school surveillance footage from the day that Johnson died. Today, United States Attorney Michael Moore now says the evidence compels him to reopen the case.
I am of the opinion that a sufficient basis exists for my office to conduct a formal review of the facts and investigation surrounding the death of Kendrick Johnson. I do this with an open mind, neither accepting nor rejecting the opinions of anyone who has previously investigated the circumstances of his death.
Now, the new investigation will not only take another look at the facts of the case, but also employ investigative resources at the national level. And the new investigation is welcome news for the Johnson family. We caught up with Kendrick Johnson's mother and father this afternoon in Tallahassee. They tell us they are relieved, but say this is only the beginning.
Until we get the answers of not only who killed Kendrick Johnson, but why people are trying to cover for those individuals, we won't stop. And we welcome the U.S. Attorney, but we will not stop until we get to the truth.
We always believed that it wasn't an accident, and we still believe it wasn't an accident, and we always will believe it wasn't an accident.
I'm going to keep my head to the sky because we know Kendrick, and we know this was not an accident. We know my son was murdered, and we're waiting for the truth to come out.
The Johnson family, who you see there, and attorneys say that they will review the recently released surveillance video of Kendrick inside the gym the day he died. They say it's nearly 2,000 hours long and will take some time. Now, Kendrick Johnson's death has taken a toll not only just on his family, but on the entire community. How Johnson may have died is still at the center of much debate throughout the Valdosta community. WTXL's Jade Balexa takes a closer look now, talking one-on-one with Valdosta Pastor Floyd Rose on this case.
And if the reward will do it, that's fine. If Michael Moore's investigation on behalf of the Justice Department will do it, that's fine, but it needs to end.
Pastor Floyd Rose says the Kendrick Johnson case is ripping the Valdosta Lowndes County community apart. He says he's been involved with the case since the beginning. He says not only is the family hurting, but also the community.
I receive calls every day from whites and blacks, from students out at Lowndes High School. We all want it over.
He says he's looked deeply into the case and says he doesn't know if Kendrick Johnson was murdered, but he says if he was indeed murdered, he expects someone will come forward with information to claim the $10,000 reward the Southern Christian Leadership Conference is offering. The family believes evidence was covered up and that the 17-year-old was murdered. Floyd believes the teen's death is not a cover-up and is getting backlash from some of the community on his stance.
I just happen not to be bought by whites or bossed by blacks, and I look for the truth and only the truth.
Jade Balexa, WTXL ABC 27, dedicated to you.
And of course, we will continue to follow this developing story and bring you the latest on air and online at WTXL.tv. An update now on Nick Finch. The Liberty County Sheriff has been acquitted of all charges just hours after an 8-person jury found Finch not guilty of charges of official misconduct and falsifying public records. He is back on the job tonight. The trial surrounded a man who had been arrested earlier this year for carrying a concealed weapon. Prosecutors argued that Finch had released the man from jail and then destroyed jail documents. They argued Finch had broken the law. However, Finch says he did nothing wrong and was only protecting a citizen's Second Amendment rights. Tragedy in Lake City. That is where a police officer was killed in a house fire this morning. Her untimely death has left the community there stunned. Ryan Smith has the latest.
The home belonging to a Lake City police investigator was reduced to nothing more than a charred shell overnight. David KYRA, a 14-year veteran with the force, escaped the flames with only minor injuries. Police say he rushed to a neighbor's house and they dialed 911. After firefighters got the fire under control, sifting through the smoke and burnt items, they discovered a body. Mother of two, Brandy Jackson, a rookie with the Lake City PD, did not make it out alive.
When you have a new member brought into your family, you begin to love them immediately, and that immediate separation is like ripping out a piece of your heart.
The tight-knit agency and small-town community is still in shock.
We're a small agency where everybody knows everybody, and that bond forms quickly.
Family members tell me the young single mother joined the police force to help support her two daughters, ages 4 and 2.
She wanted to do something for her community. That's why she looked to law enforcement, you know, to give back to the community. And her heart and passion was to do that.
That was Ryan Smith reporting. To Quincy now, where the owner of a daycare is facing charges accused of leaving a 3-year-old locked up alone inside of the center. A court date is still pending for 75-year-old Willa Tribune Nelson. She is charged with child neglect. Investigators say members of the Quincy Fire Department had to help break into the Precious Gems daycare center this week. A mother had gone there to pick up her child but found the doors locked and the lights turned off. Nelson reportedly told investigators she had taken off to a doctor's appointment and didn't realize she had left the child inside. Officers tell us a similar incident happened back in 2005 at the same place when an employee left a child out on the playground. Nelson is free tonight. No court date has been scheduled. Well, looking at weather now, Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse joining us now. And pretty dry today. I saw a little mist though, but rain tomorrow.
Yeah, looks like more in the way of substantial rain at times, especially in the afternoon hours. Even overnight, some of our coastal neighbors may get in on a passing shower. Right now on Titan radar, I'm sure most folks have already come back home from the trick-or-treating excursions. You were able to avoid the rain. Still plenty of warmth and moisture and cloudiness, which may have caused that little bit of mist. But it looks like offshore, we're seeing just a little bit of extra moisture gathering, and with the southerly winds, could see a few of these spotty showers clipping the coast from Apalachicola over towards Panama City. This will be the trend going into tomorrow. Initial rain coming in from the Gulf region with that strong southerly flow and the wind forces involved, only spotty and scattered. But then the main band of rain comes in towards the afternoon hours, and it seems like a little more of a progressive movement, which means it could get here a little sooner. So we may start to get those clouds building quite a bit during the course of the morning, and then by even lunchtime could have a few of the first showers around, maybe a few embedded thunderstorms on the way home. Breezy all the while and warm for your Friday. More information ahead in your Storm Team forecast.
All right, Cass, thank you. Florida Governor Rick Scott has announced the dates for a special election to replace U.S. Representative Bill Young. Young, who was a longtime Republican member of Congress, died earlier this month. Scott issued an executive order today that calls for a January 14th and a March 11th general election. Former Chief Financial Officer Alex Singh said that she would move from nearby Hillsborough County in order to run for the Pinellas County seat. Singh narrowly lost the 2010 governor's race against Scott. Democrat Jessica Ehrlich, also who lost to Young last year, has already announced her candidacy in 2014. Well, still to come here on the news at 11, food stamp cuts start tomorrow. Just how much will this affect the millions of Americans who depend on the program? Plus, a Georgia man found guilty of murder now knows his fate. You are watching WTXL ABC 27 News at 11. Your news across Georgia now. One person was killed today in a plant explosion. It happened at the Meggitt Polymers and Composites plant in Rockmart, that is northwest Georgia. Officials say a female employee died when a boiler exploded. No one else was hurt. The incident is under investigation. And the Georgia man accused of killing his father and 7 others has been sentenced to life in prison. Guy Hines Jr. was sentenced less than a week after a jury found him guilty of malice murder. The murders took place in 2009. Prosecutors spared him from a death sentence last week as part of a deal with defense attorneys that allowed them to avoid a hung jury. Under Georgia law, Hines faced an automatic life sentence once the death penalty was taken off the table. His attorneys maintain his innocence. Well, still ahead here on the news at 11, less money for food. That's what millions of Americans will be dealing with when their food stamp payments are reduced. It happens in less than an hour. But first, another check at what's shaping up to be a pretty rainy forecast. Here's Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse. Hey, Cass.
Hey, Mika, even though we are going into the first day of November, overnight temperatures could feel like the beginning of September. We'll barely get below 70 in some cases, and the coast very warm and muggy with maybe some early morning showers. Right now in the Napleton Tower Cam atop the Doubletree, there is some cloudiness, and there could be maybe some additional shower chances increasing during the course of your Friday across the capital city.